even though today is like a gloomy day. It's very gloomy. My thoughts and prayers go out to Florida because Florida had went through a devastating hurricane Ian. I'm not pronouncing it right. Ian. A lot of people lost their homes. And I'm gonna tell you, we were batting down the hatches on this end because I got a lot of trees. I ain't even gonna lie. I went out back and touched one of my trees and I was like, look, no joke, real. I was like, I need you to hold on to all your limbs, your branches. And of course I prayed and um asked God to dispatch his angels to protect because I got a lot of trees in the back and I have to cut them jokers back because they can cause huge damage on my property and also my next door neighbor's property. But thank God nothing failed. But I was thinking about Florida, like some of those people, man, they were in their homes for years and lost everything. So, it really makes you think to be grateful for the little things that we take for granted. And that's like the running hot water, roof over your head, food to eat, a warm blanket, somewhere to lay your head. That's something that I was like, you know what, I'm really grateful to have that. And my prayers do go to the families in Florida. So what I wanted to discuss, I'm really about to do another channel, and I'm about to have another channel that's off of YouTube and do more commentary, like do more of a showy type of thing or whatever. Um, because I'm just trying to switch my perspective and my talk, my point of views, and put it to use, should I say, and doing something that I feel like I like to do because I do talk a lot. Yeah, I know. I'll be on here for about a whole hour talking to like five people. But anyway, I wanted to do a quick update on um put away spouse, because if y'all been following my video for a very long time, you understand like everything that I've been through, and some of y'all can relate because your husband either divorced you. And when I mean husband, the real husband, the one who ain't never been married before, and y'all were married for the first time and became one flesh, and he gave you a divorce, which is put away. A divorce is a piece of paper to send someone away. And I'm not talking about adultery. I'm talking about because you have folks that divorced from adultery and they were never married from the beginning. But I wanted to follow up with, how many years has it been? It's been 7 years. I think it's been 7 years, right? I don't even know when I got divorced. I have no idea. What year was that? I mean, Tiffany was just a newborn, wasn't she? Yes, she was. So my baby's 7. So it's been like 7 years since I got my walking papers. I don't even think I got anything in the mail. I don't even know. All I know is that the judge said granted, and that was the last time that I saw the man that I married, and he saw me. I have not seen him. I have seen him on Facebook one time, but it's like he completely disappeared, which is fine because when people don't want to be bothered, sometimes it's best to just stay away. So, throughout the years, I have prayed, I've fasted, I've cried, I was frustrated, I was hurt, I was in disbelief. I was almost when I was going through the process of the actual going to court and everything. I was faced with a lot of challenges and almost a little bit of depression. I got a lot of gray hairs, oh, a ton of them, just a ton of them. How am I now? I'm good. I'm good. I'm happy, and honestly, I don't even really think about it as much. It may cross my mind more so when I'm looking at my daughter and it's little things that she, like little gestures that she make that look like her father. But I have to be very honest. Like, we have been divorced longer on paper than married longer on paper, even though I am still one flesh with the man that I said I did. It's not as, like, for instance, I haven't been wearing my wedding band. I'm just being very honest with you. I wear like other rings, like other diamonds and things like that on my finger, but I haven't been wearing my wedding band. Why? Because I just don't feel like it. Sometimes I just don't feel like it. I don't feel like putting on that ring. Maybe if I do feel like it, I'll put it on. If not, at one point in time, I used to put it on. So, you know what I'm saying? It was a symbol as, I got married. This was a symbol of our marriage. And I didn't want to be approached by different men. So I would wear my wedding band. But as the years rolled in, that thing has been, I'm not going to say it's been collecting dust, but from time to time I put it on, and from time to time I don't. I don't feel no type of way. And I haven't been approached by anyone asking, hey, can I take you out on a date? Hey, are you married? I haven't been approached by anyone at all, because literally my life consists of, I go to work and I come home and I take care of my baby. I go places with her, like it's about my daughter. Now, I'm so focused on other things right now. The last thing, I even find myself, if I think about my my husband, I find myself like, man, forget that. Like, it's like, that's for the birds. Let's focus on this. You know what I mean? Like, that's where I'm at right now. And I don't know if it's because, I remember at the beginning, I had so much sorrow and I was so hurt that I asked God to take me desiring my husband away from me. And I believe that I surpassed that. I don't desire him. I mean, I don't even, I almost I mean, I remember what he looks like. I have like little photos and stuff like that or whatever, but it's been so long ago. And time will heal the wounds, especially when you forgive. You don't have time to be sitting up there moping and crying, and you know what I mean, because the seasons are past before you know it. And I know some of y'all like, well, Mona, how did you? Yes, look, I got other dreams and ambitions and other things to do in my life. Being married does not define me as a human being. It doesn't. Merging with somebody does not. I have overcome of wanting someone to want me, or thinking that my very existence is because I'm someone's wife. I was born in this world by myself before I even became somebody else's wife. So where I'm at right now is, I want to go for the goal. I want to go for what God has planned for me, and making sure that I take care of my family, my daughter, my mom, and my siblings, or friends, helping out with them, being a huge impact to the world. Um, that I'm not even tripping off of him anymore. I'm just not. I don't even care. I mean, I'm just like, whatever. He's doing him. I don't care. I don't care. And some people may think that that's sad, but no, that's a great thing, because what I thought that I would lose, because my own husband, which I thought was the man that was going to love me forever more than anybody, basically put me away. And when he put me away and divorced and all this other stuff, he never apologized about it. Now I remember feeling a little sour about me not ever getting an apology, but that's where the forgiveness comes in, so you don't have to ever wait on an apology. Um, it is what it is. So I got other stuff that I really want to do with my life. And I'm just like, now that I'm 40, I'm like, I'm on my next chapter. I can't be tripping about what happened when I was 30. I can't be tripping off of stuff like that, because that can hinder or with your future, which you're looking forward to, because of unforgiveness and you still stuck in the past. Okay, I get it. My husband put me away. He filed for a divorce. He knew that what me and him took was sacred. And I remember my grandmother saying years ago, Mona, you ain't the only woman that went before a divorce court. You're not the only woman who went through these things. No, I wasn't the only woman, especially, you know, when I did the video about Princess Diana. Shoot, she married a prince and he carried the dog crap out of her in front of the world. In front of the world. Um, and so certain things can have a bad cause and effect. So you have to pick and choose, what effect that will have on you. Granted, I'm not sitting up here saying that the certain decisions that a parent makes, whether you said, well, I'm gonna do me, I'm gonna live my life, I'm divorcing my wife, when you make a decision like that, God is still gonna hold you accountable. And he's going to hold you accountable not only to what you did to your husband, your wife, but also what you did to your children. Even though we went along living in peace or whatever like that, God is still looking at how you treated the wife of your youth. And he's also looking at the wife or how you reacted to the way you were treated. So my reaction right now is just like, I don't care. I mean, I don't care. I don't care. It's like I'm at the point right now where it's just like, it is what it is. I cannot cry over something that happened years ago. I did enough crying, enough shedding the tears, all of that shoulda, coulda, woulda mess is done. And I think my husband should be absolutely proud, because that's exactly what you wanted it to be. It and it's like, okay, it is what it is. That's what you wanted it to be. It's just, some people look at it like, but dang, he could live to be another 60 years or whatever like that. Are you prepared? I'm like, look, you see how many folks out here are headed to the divorce court right now? You rarely even see a thriving marriage, somebody that can really say that that's my first wife and that's my first husband. You see more adultery out here than anything. The model, we see it now, even in Buckingham Palace, man, with Charles and his mistress, or his adulterous wife that they didn't want to call a queen contest or whatever. That's how some of these women are out here. That's how some of these men, they don't believe in adultery anymore. They call themselves believers and don't even believe in the Ten Commandments. They don't even believe in the commandments of God. They say they're covered by the blood, but Jesus said you can go to hell for adultery, and they don't believe it. They be like, yeah, right. But anywho, that's a whole nother, that's basically a part of it. And that's the reason my I remain unmarried. Um, do I ever feel like I'm going to be able to reconcile with the man that I married? I doubt it. I mean, at, at the beginning, I really thought like, yeah, of course, he'll be here in a week. He'll be here in the next day. Watch. Kept looking out the window. Sure. He'll be here next week. No, he'll be here next month. He'll be here in 6 months. He'll be here in a year. Now I'm like, man, I'm not waiting on that joker. He's where he's supposed to be. He's where he chose to be. He's where he's. That's all. That's life. Life is. I didn't do anything. You can raise a child. You can give that child all the love and teach that child certain things. And once that child becomes grown, it's not your fault that he goes out and do some unthinkable things and become a huge shame on his mother and family and find that child is not an adult locked up in jail. It's not. One thing about God is God does not force us to serve him. He created us, but he does not force us to serve him. He tells us his commandments, and if we don't follow it, the wages of sin is death. Period. That's it. That's all. That's it. That's all. That's it. That's all. That's it. And that's all. So, where am I at right now, and how am I feeling about it? It's just, and I'm only saying this because some of y'all may just went through a divorce. Somebody just gave you a bill of divorce, and you're trying to find your way out. You're trying to understand what's going to happen next. Time is going to heal. You have to come to the terms of forgiveness, because if you don't forgive, even after 10 years, you're still going to have a hard heart, and you're going to have a hard time trying to get through to you're going to have a hard time with your future because you're still stuck in the past. Now, your future does not mean that you move on and marry somebody else. No, you still obey the commandments of God. And with that, you will find that God will bless your footsteps. He will lead you, he will guide you, and he will protect you. And that's the most. Sorry, y'all. Keep going. Let me see if this thing. Sometimes I have to point my camera. He's loved me unconditionally, and throughout it all, um, that's the best reward of it. Is that God sees all of it. He sees all of it, and I have not skipped a beat in the things that I want, in the things that I want to do. So after several years, I don't even when it comes to like my around my mother, around my friend, I don't even mention my husband. I don't. I talk to y'all about it because some of you guys are going through a similar situation, but I don't even mention him as much. Not even as much. I just don't even mention him. He's not even a part of a conversation. It is almost like out of sight, out of mind. I do mention it to my daughter because she needs to understand that she does have a father. So I may show her photos and be like, this is your dad. I showed her a video when her father was playing the piano, and I said, that's you. And she was like, oh, cool. And she looked at her, she never said, where is he? She just said, oh, he's lost. And so I just kept it like that and kept it moving. um Certain decisions that parents make, eventually it's going to come back around, and your children are going to ask questions about it. But those are the decisions you make. I think when everybody gets married, they need to understand that number one is permanent, and number two, you have a choice whether or not to be with that particular person. Now, I could have said, okay, I made the wrong choice with the wrong person. No, I made the right choice with the right person, and I had the right children, the right child, and I'm right where I'm supposed to be. It was a decision that he made. I don't I don't really feel, yeah, I was hurt at one point in time, but now I'm just like, ain't no point of crying about that. I mean, you get to the point you just like you got to put your big girl drawers on. I got to be honest. There's so many things to face out here. It's like if you're on a ship and your husband was the captain and he jumped off the ship, what are you just going to sit there on the ship and just hope that you get a sail? No, you better learn how to batten down the hatches and catch a sail, learn how to catch some stuff and work with the crew and be like, we got to roll. Look, I'm laughing because I'm like, there's gold beyond these hills. I'm like, we gotta find army treasure. Me and my daughter be talking like that. Like I gotta go after mine. I can't waste another year. I cannot waste another day. I can't. What God has for me, I have to go for it. And I used to wait, and people be like, but what if he comes back? Come back to what? Where we used to stay at, the house is no longer, and I wouldn't even want to go back to that daggone thing, that place anymore. And I remember at one point in time, it's like I remember I wanted that. I remember it was like, oh my gosh, I really love this place. Now I look back at it like that was nothing, because what God has shown me, it's just like, sky's the limit, and there's so many things to do while you still have breath in your body. There's so many places to see, so many people to meet, so many things and topics to talk about. It's like, while you have that time, because you got a lot of women out here and men, they don't have time to even think, because they're dealing with relationship issues. Count your blessings, you ain't even dealing with those type of things. So I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for stuff like that. Um, I think I've gotten used to being not think. I've gotten used to being by myself. I have gotten used to being by myself and running the shots. I mean, of course, I asked the Lord, I'm like, Father, can I do this? Oh, Lord, oh, God, I need help with this. Like, I go to my Father about everything. I've gotten so used to doing that, it, I wouldn't even know how to go back to what I used to do, if you understand what I'm saying. How I was. And I'm not going on women out there who are waiting for their husbands, or husbands out there who are waiting for their wives. But some of y'all been waiting for like 25 years, and I'm not saying that it ain't never going to happen, like you're never going to reconcile, because anything is possible. But in between, while you waiting, there's nothing wrong with a great adventure. There's nothing wrong with seeking happiness and being happy where you're at. There's nothing wrong with exploring what God has for you. I mean, this world is so big. You know what I mean? Like, don't don't sit there and let your hair just go gray and just be like, I'm just gonna sit here, and when my husband stops and realize he has a wife that's waiting, I'm nah. You're supposed to be doing something. God has blessed you with a gift. You're supposed to be doing something. You need to ask God, what is your gift, and go out and do it. So that's where I'm at. I'm just like, the stuff that I want, I'm not even going to lie to y'all. The things that I want and the things that I desire, the things that I'm asking God for, when I visualize it, my husband ain't nowhere in the picture. That doesn't mean that I don't love him. It means that he's just not in the picture. He didn't want to be in the picture, so therefore take the picture without him. And I'm still going to smile. I just, this time, it's nowadays I'm starting to, like the other day, not even the other, like last week, I drove to New York all by myself. I had some folks, they were like, man, come on up to New York. And I was like, I don't know if I can do it, work. And they're like, come on in. I was like, you know what? And I just grabbed my bags and everything and was like, I'm gone. And I had so much fun. Y'all, I was literally, I toured this abandoned mansion looking at all the details. I just had a great time. We did music up there. I just had a really great time. And I felt like I did it by myself. But I thought that in order for me to smile and be happy, I had to have my husband a part of the situation. He had to be there. That's my mind frame of thinking years ago. And some people today, you find that you may see somebody, they're always with somebody because they're with somebody to define their happiness, because they never even sort out their own happiness and their own peace of mind. They always need, or thought or think they need somebody, and that's why you never see these people by themselves. And so I will say that when you first forgive what the person has done to you, I'm talking about when you get to the point when you truly forgive, you'll things will start to get brighter. And even if the desire is so hard, you can always pray and ask God to take the desire of your spouse away from you. You can ask, especially for women, because you desire your husband so much, like you really feel like a divorce, you feel like death happened. When my dad passed away, I asked my mom, how does it feel now that he's dead? Do you feel anything different? Like, I just wanted to know in a spiritual sense, because they're one flesh. Do you feel anything different, like a detachment, or like something just? And my mother told me that she felt when the divorce happened, that felt like death. And I was like, really? She was like, yeah, that felt like death when the divorce had happened. So she said she did not feel, I mean, she was at the funeral and everything, but she did not, that's what she said. But I also could see that there was some type of hurt in my mother, even though she didn't say it. But I understood what she was saying, though, because when I went through my divorce, I did feel it felt like death, like you about to go, you on your way to a funeral. You're on your way to a funeral. It did feel like that. But I think over the years with my mom's situation, because she was raising 4 kids, and she was needing help and wasn't receiving that, and it was just a whole lot that my mom was dealing with, that I think her dreams, her goals, and which the things that she wanted to do, it was just it was just all about her children, and in those days just basically surviving, because your husband's not there, because she's been taught that when you grow up is your husband, and your husband is the provider. And when she didn't have that, she had to do what she had to do with 4 children. And so it was never really like, well, maybe while he's gone, let me pursue something. But nowadays, we have become so very conscious of that it's God that giveth and God that taketh, and that He will provide. And never one time will we skip a beat on the desires that we want. No good thing will He withhold, says God. Even if your husband jumps ship, you may just find you get a double blessing just for being obedient in God's word. And so that's where I'm at. I want all the blessings, all the blessings. I thank God for everything, and I'm not perfect, but I just know one thing: if I'm following in the will of God, then nothing bad can come towards me. And when God gives you a blessing, He's not going to add any sorrow to it. He has provided me in such a way that I appreciate God on a whole nother level, that my husband couldn't even he could not even equate to. You can't even compare it to. So where I'm at right now is like, I'm happy, I'm content, I'm not sad. At one point in time, I did have little ups and downs, because sometimes it does come in waves, because you are reminded that you are one flesh with somebody. When that person is gone for long periods of time, out of sight, out of mind. It don't mean like you go out here and act like they don't exist to the point that you start dating. No, they exist. I believe my walk of faithfulness and keeping my covenant, not keeping my covenant, but basically acknowledging my covenant, because it is a covenant, that it just put me on a whole nother level where I know it's theirs, but it doesn't mean I'm supposed to stop and be crying all day long for what? For what? It doesn't mean that I'm not supposed to want or desire the things that I want, for what? God knows the desires of my heart. And that's where I'm at right now. And so I just wanted to give some encouragement to somebody else that may just went through that. And I saw videos where women were just like, my husband just divorced me, and today's going to be my first day as a single woman after 25 years of marriage. I think it's absolutely awful. Um, but at the same time, there's a lot of peace that comes with it. But it's basically on how you carry it. It's a lot of peace that comes with it. And I know you said, well, Mona, how? Well, number one, you could come and go as you please. Number two, you don't have to deal with some of the issues that relationships and even relationships and marriages deal with. There's a lot of bickering in marriages, and I'm not sitting up here downplaying whatever. And then you have some marriages that learn how to get along. I mean, that's the wonderful thing about marriage. So there's a blessing with this. And some women, like I know a lot of folks, they're basically content, because when you get that type of peace, you don't want to give that up. You just don't want to give that up. Um, and somebody asked me, if your husband walked into your life right now, would you take him back? He's already my husband. I'm already one flesh with him. I was trying to find a way out in the most crazy ways. I mean, I was trying to find a way out, like, has he ever been married before? And I was like, Mona, daggone well he hasn't. If that was the case, God would have never snatched you up in that dream. And I was like, ah. What about that? Look, you should have told me. I was like, what about the first lady that he was engaged to? What about her? What about her? Did he ever marry her? I'm sorry, y'all. Remember, I was trying to find my way. It can't be one flesh. I can't be one flesh to the death. This cannot be true. Oh man. Oh man. I was trying to find a way out. I was trying to find a way. And all I found was like, you know what? It is what it is. It is what it is. And it's amazing because I was speaking to a lady and she was so upset. She's a much older woman than I am. And she's never been married before. And she has sustained from sex and intercourse and all of that. And she decided that she was going to date somebody that she knew for years. And of course, they slept with each other. And the whole time she finds out later on, he has a girlfriend or another woman. And she's upset. She's upset not only because he lied, but because she gave her body up. And I was like, See, I don't deal with them type of issues. I don't deal with those type of issues. And now she's emotionally tied to it because she done laid down with somebody who deceived her. See, I this is one thing that I have learned. Follow the Bible. Okay. I know I'm not perfect, but that adultery and that fornication sin is some real stuff. And that can hinder you in your walk and become a huge barrier of you getting to the next level because you got this huge speed bump of a sin that's blocking you. And I realized that people don't get far because they're so indulged into relationships with others that some majority of them they're not even supposed to be with or forbidden to be with, and it blocks off their blessings. So if you're a person that's practicing abstinence and you are focusing on a goal or a dream, or you're praying and asking God for something, you'll find that those things will come to you so easily versus somebody who's just always indulging themselves in lust. They're blocked by certain things that was supposed to be given to them. They're tossing and turning at nighttime. When you're doing things like God wants you to do and what you're supposed to do, you want to have really light and good sleep. You are. You are. I've had boyfriends before whatever you or suit us. I've had I've dated guys before I met my husband. I've dated them, and what I found is, what did you find? I Something always bad would happen. I was always struggling, always dealing with something. I was just not able to get sleep. Somebody trying to control you. I was dealing with craziness. I was dealing with crazy stupidness. And now I ain't dealing with none of that. And I don't ever want to go back to any of that. I just don't. I just don't. I don't I keep, like I said, I talk to y'all, but I keep a fairly private life. I keep a very private life. I don't invite people into my world. Like I said, at 40 years old, I ain't got time to be sparing time. I ain't old, but dad going it. I need all my years. I need 10 years from now, I'll be 50. 20 years from now, I'll be 60. You know what I'm saying? 30, I'll be 70, and so forth. 40, I'll be 80. I ain't got time to be sitting up here giving somebody else my time. And that's what some of y'all realize, that you've been in a relationship here for 4 years, 5 years, 3 years, 2 years, 3 years. It's like, come on now. I mean, how much more are you going to give up your body, your intellect to somebody that's just going to throw it in the trash? You're wasting your time. You got another headache. You dealing with another whatever. It's just like, if it's gonna come, it's gonna come, and it's gonna come naturally. You're not gonna have to try. You're not gonna have to buy somebody to love you. You know what I mean? You're not gonna have to do all of that. In the meantime, enjoy exploring this huge globe called the world. Some people, it don't make sense, but it's okay to venture off with your significant other, your wife, your husband. Your wife is supposed to. There's a reason why he created the male and female. There is a reason. But for any reason that male or female decide that they're going to switch like a 10 speed and dip out on you and put you away, it doesn't mean that you're supposed to stop living. You got to keep pushing on. Find the things that make you happy. I was I literally was thinking yesterday. Y'all remember that movie Hook, when you think of that happy thought and he started flying? So I started thinking of my happy thought, right? One of my happy thoughts. And I looked at my daughter, and and I was thinking, I was like, she is my joy. She makes me laugh so hard. so so her little tooth came out. And y'all, let me tell you something. Her tooth came out, and I had to hurry up in the morning to put $2, and I put two little gems. She had like a ruby and some blue whatever that was underneath her pillow. And so the next morning she got up and she ran into her room, because she barely sleeps in her room sometimes. And she gonna look under her pillow. Look, mommy. I said, what's that? So we go to the Dollar Tree so she could pick out two little toys, because she lost her tooth. And she was like, talking about, I want to get a trampoline or something. I said, sweets, I don't think you can find a trampoline in the Dollar Tree, but you can get two toys. So anyway, so she had these two. One of the toys was like a mouth full of teeth or something like that with the toothbrush and everything on it. And so when I was sitting up here thinking about a happy thought, I looked at my daughter and she was just as nicely and sweetly because she has an imagination, or she was playing with those teeth. And she said, "Oh, open your mouth. Oh, your gums are dirty. Oh, let me brush your teeth." Like she was doing this whole thing. And I looked and I was cracking up laughing. She was just like, "Oh," and she was making all types of noises. And it was like she was so engulfed in her imagination of helping somebody brush their teeth and their gums, that I literally was like cracking up, but trying not to be loud because I didn't want to take her out of her zone. But I was like, this right here is like my joy. Like she just brings me so much joy. And I'm so grateful for her because her dad was a huge part of her being alive. So it's stuff like that I'm just like, to focus myself on, and not so much of he left us. Yeah, he left us, and the chain reaction of it is we're doing great. Matter of fact, I'm doing way more better than I was when I was with him. That's just the honest truth. We're doing great. Yeah, it would have been great for our daughter to get to know him, but God knows the reason behind everything. And the adventures so far that I've been on and that I'm going and I want to do, it's just like I think I finally got to the point to understand, like, we're here one day, we are literally like shadows, and the next thing you know, we're gone. And all of us have this fate, and the fate is called, eventually we all going to die. We're all going to cross over to some point in time. So what are you going to do in this time that we have? You see what I'm saying? Are you just gonna sit there and mope because your wife wasn't with you? You gonna mope for the next 80 years? That doesn't make sense. When you're only married in the flesh on this earth, and then after that you're not, because marriages is not in heaven. So it's no point of you going through those emotions. It's no point of you going through There's no point of you going through all of that. For what? It's just a waste of time. So that's where I'm at right now. And it's just like, I don't care no more. I don't care. I just don't. Oh, it is what it is. I guess it sounds cruel, but that's not my focus anymore. I used to focus at the window. He's gonna come back. He's gonna come back. Then I used to focus, on my Facebook and other things. Maybe he'll come back. He's gonna come back. I'm just like, whatever. I got other stuff to do. That's no. I got other things to do, other stuff to do. And that's it. And that's all. Yeah. So it is literally like windy out here. So yeah. So I think with everything, when you go through certain situations, and it happened so long ago, it becomes something almost in the past. It's just like when I hear of a woman who just had a miscarriage, or she just lost a baby. I mean, my heart is just like, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. And although I know I went through those things years ago, it hits a little differently now than how it used to hit then. It's I understand, and I went through the same thing, so I get it. I understand, but my emotions are not Hello. Good morning. Good morning. My emotions is not so it's not tied to it like it was in the beginning. My emotions with my husband is not tied to it like it was. Thank you. Thank you. Have a great day, okay? All right, thank you. All right. So, yeah, and some people would say, this is my one advice before I get off of this thing. Some people would be like, just keep praying, and your husband or your wife will come back. Just keep praying. They're gonna come back. They're gonna come back. Just keep on praying. The truth of the matter is, maybe that when you prayed, maybe that was the answer to the prayer, is that they're not gonna come back. And I'm not saying that you don't continue on praying for them, for like praying for their protection, because that's a different type of prayer versus saying, God, I want him to come back to me, because you don't know what God has in store, what God is doing to them or using them for. You just don't know. Or it could be a safety reason too. You just don't know. It doesn't mean that you cease and stop praying for them, meaning interceding and asking God to protect them, and provide for them, or what, that's a I want to say agape. That's that type of love where you just, all is well. I just wish them good voyage. That's it. And when you get to that level, then you know that you have arrived. You know that you have arrived, honey. You ain't even tripping off that stuff no more. And it's not saying that as if it's not a huge impact on your life, but you're not even tripping off of it. Anyway, I'm about to go into work. Y'all have a blessed day today. Have a blessed, blessed, blessed day today.